Good morning, everybody. Welcome aboard to the Morning Note. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of GAR Capital. It is Tuesday, May 14th, 2024. Glad to be with you this morning and every morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here on our YouTube channel. I did not do a live one yesterday, Morning Note. I'm doing it live today, so glad to be with you at our regular scheduled time. It is now about to be 9 a.m. Let's go ahead and get to it. Dow futures are up 35 points. Nasdaq's down about 33. The S&P is flat. The Russell is up 1%. Post PPI, the producer price index numbers. We're going to go over that here in a second. Yields are up a little bit. Dollar just went red. That's a good sign. The VIX is up 1%. So initially, you got to pull back on that producer price index number. That's the inflation data. And then I was 0.5%, I believe, versus a 0.3% month over month, but the year over year met expectations. Let me go ahead and make sure if I get that number for y'all. Let's just bring up the Discord. Much easier. Here we go. Go to the Discord, and you can see 0.5% versus 0.3 estimate, 2.2% versus 2.2% on the PPI, highest pace in September. The previous month was revised lower. You could see revised. This is from last month in April. So prior 0.2% revised is now negative, is actually 0.1%. So I think that's what's standing out in terms of why we are bouncing. And another reason that we are bouncing as well is that if you actually look at the actual PPI number, service inflation was driven by a 3.9% increase in the quote cost of portfolio management services. That's not exactly a showstopper for some Americans. Most food prices and airline ticket prices fell. May will look different for both PPI and CPI as inflation begins to fall again. That's from Ron Isana on Twitter. So great report there. The reason why everyone's probably here is probably what GME and AMC. So let's go ahead and get started on that because that's been soaring, as we know. Yesterday, I believe pre-market was right around 23 bucks. Now we're at what, 65.56. It's 2021 all over again. So let's kind of take a step back and see exactly what we're doing or what can we do with all this. So this is going to be very, very, very volatile. Name of the game. We're at 64.98. If we were just looking at it holistically, we're looking at $61 to $60 as potential first level of resistance. If we were to take a leg higher, it's 80. And if you were to take a leg higher above 87, well, you can go as high as 120, which is literally the all-time high. That was the craze highs. Again, guys, technically speaking, it is a breakout. You could see the downward breakdown here. You're above major moving averages. But at this point, when it comes to these meme names and these kind of short squeezes, becomes rather redundant in terms of technical analysis. It's breaking out. So think of it this way. It's a roulette wheel where the number has hit 40 consecutive times. Now you got a crowd around you. Now everyone's trying to put some money on the table. And then it usually ends with a pullback of some kind. AMC is diluting their shares. They just raised $250 million in equity by selling more shares. They're up this morning, nearly double, 100% this morning or more than that. So again, they're going to take advantage, obviously. And all this was because of a tweet. That doesn't seem sustainable to me, guys. And again, I want everyone to make money. And I did trade the meme craze as well in 2021, GME, BlackBerry, all that jazz. But again, it doesn't last forever. And the higher it goes, the more likely it's going to pull back even sharper. And that's just the reality. So personally, the way I see it is, let's see if we get some kind of pullback and do puts, because that would be the counter trade. And that would be a higher rate of return than just buying juiced up calls up here, up 100%, in my opinion. Good morning, everybody. Namaste. Good morning. Look at SPY and SE. Yeah. So we're pulling back a little bit on ES. Let's take a look at SPY. Yeah, pulling back a bit. It's pretty much flat on the day. We bounced off this support here around 518.12. So we'll just use that as our support for the time being. Really, guys, tomorrow's the big report. That's the CPI number. So that's the consumer price index. We just had the producer price index. SE is going. That's moving higher. I want to say this is a Chinese company. I could be wrong. I've never traded them personally. In terms of, never signaled them. 70, 69.94. That's going to be your breakout level, I assume. That's the recent highs. There is a gap to fill at 82.89. So if you do break above, let's say 68, If you can get above there, then you can play the gap fill above. I did read that KWeb, I believe that's the Chinese, yeah, that's a Chinese internet ETF. They just golden crossed. So let's place an alert here at 31.92 to 32 and see if we can play longs on KWeb. This is the internet Chinese ETF. If we want to take a look at just China names themselves, look at FXI. It is a breakout. I have an alert at 30. It moves very closely with Alibaba. Alibaba's down today after earnings. Once this golden crosses on FXI, I don't know if they will because of BABA today. Once that does, then we can go ahead and start taking a look at targeting that 30 level for some calls on FXI. If that's where the money flow is going on China, we'll just trade it. Fine with me. Apple finally above 185. Yes, we actually filled Apple yesterday. We got that break from our watch list, and we are expecting higher. Again, no different than what we've talked about before, like with XLE, downward break, downward break. Get to 196, more than likely we'll just pull back again like XLE. So 187 was the break level. Pull back a little bit. We're down 8 cents from the close yesterday. Again, a flat tape, even after the producer price index. So just more wait and see. Thoughts on Baba and their earnings? I didn't take a look at their earnings in terms of actually reading it all. Let's take a look because of PPI was coming out. On the 4-hour chart, we got a gap fill. So at least that. You did not fill this 85-87 gap. So we already got the earnings expectations out of the way. That's done. And it is a golden cross. I actually like Baba here for a possible dip buy, depending on how we open. And again, 80, 60, this could all change. So if we get to right here, that's pretty much near your gap fill. And then you got this one coming up here at 85. If we do get a bounce, maybe we get back above 82, we can trade the 85 calls. That would be a good setup. XOM calls. Let's take a look at it. XOM is slowly just chopping around. You know, when you got GME and AMC and all these names taking all of the flows and the limelight, you know, energy names are not going to get a lot of love. The good news, again, we have until June, and it's still within the cup and handle setup. So just waiting for 120 to break. I know it's a pain in the ass, but that's what we got to do. And control what we got to control. But right now, it's just pretty much neutral. Like I talked about yesterday, regarding just being neutral in regards to energy. Everything's more likely going to be like tech. And now we're seeing the meme names starting to explode higher. So, yeah, oil companies are not exactly attracting a lot of capital flows at the moment. Crude is down this morning. So we'll see what happens there. But again, it's still holding up in the pattern. It's just slow as hell. Thoughts on Tesla and the price action through this week? Is it still going to hit 205? Let's take a look at it. 205 this week. That's going to be a tough one. Again, you would need a great CPI number. We're right near the 20-day moving average. We can use that as support for the time being. Still have a gap to fill here at 206. So really the number we're looking for a break, if we wanted to play this long, let's see, 185 or so. 185 break. We can start taking a look at the 200 calls. Let's see if we actually crack that. So it's going to take a little bit, but again, still within this channel. Nothing has changed on Tesla or Tesla. Let's see. AMD calls. I know I got. Here you go. I am bullish the semiconductors this week. AMD is pretty much flat. It is below the 20-day. I need that to crack, guys. 153. So I got an alert above 165, a ways away. But it is a wedge break. So the question is, can it get a little higher? At least fill this gap here at 158.16. If we can break that, then that'll keep our alerts alive for the 165. Again, this is going to be a minute if you want to go ahead and trade this higher because you're going to need a lot of confirmation because 138, that's where that looms, that support. And that could definitely get there. So I'm rather neutral on AMD, if anything. NVIDIA to me looks a little better. NVIDIA is just really just holding, and you had that wedge here breakout, but it's just chopping. Everything is waiting for tomorrow, CPI number. That's really it, guys. Just got to wait for that. Real quick, FXI. Oh, FCX, sorry. FCX, we are in calls, 5245. We need to get 5281 members. Just remember that. That should hit this week. Apple, remember 187 was our level. We have time. Bank of America expires this week. I still have calls. We hit a 52-week high yesterday, but it pulled back. So it is green this morning. We need to get above 39 ASAP. FCX was price upgraded today, and I do believe FCX should hit this week, hopefully today. That I'm not in control of when. CVX, again, energy right on that trend line. Nice bounce, but we're just kind of flat here. And then again, we talked about XOM. XOM is down about a couple of pennies. It's just what it is at this point. GSK, Glasgow Smith Kline, once we break 45.41, actually 45.73, sorry. Once that breaks, we are home as well. And it's a beautiful, beautiful chart. That's what we're waiting for right there for GSK. And I think that we should be able to catch some action today because yesterday was an absolute snooze fest other than GME and other than AMC. So again, I'm leaning towards shorting AMC and GME personally. I just don't think we're there yet. Again, if you think we're going to go to 1,000 or $500, whatever you prefer, just be careful, be smart, use your risk and risk management, excuse me. And a lot of people have gotten burned before. So if you are going to get into these trades, when you do options, understand that your risk is already defined. So again, whatever you buy that option for, that's the most you can lose. Once you start doing naked shorting and all that jazz, oh, it's a whole different ballgame. How long out for the Apple calls? For June. For June, that's what I have. All right. And there we go. All right, guys, we'll go and leave it there. Have a great rest of your morning. And I will see you guys tomorrow for the morning note as we talk about CPI. Let's see how the market responds. And we'll go from there. Make sure to join us on our server. It's scrolling below all the details. Have a great rest of your morning. Cheers, all.